Good morning, honorable delegates. Welcome to the General Assembly 4th Committee, SPECPOL called Special Political and Decolonization Council. We would like to proceed with the roll call at first before starting the real agenda. So if your country is being called, please either say present or present. Algeria voting.
Present.
Bahrain.
Present.
Canada.
Present and voting.
Costa Rica.
Present.
France.
Present and voting.
Germany.
Present.
Spain.
Present and voting.
The United Kingdom.
Present and voting.
The United States of America.
Present and voting.
We will now move into setting the speaker's time on the agenda. Are there any delegates, any motions in the House? Canada, you have been recognized.
Motion to set the speaker's time to 60 seconds.
Are there any preceding points of information or motions? United States of America, you have been recognized.
Motion to set the speaker's time to 90 seconds.
Okay, so we have two motions to set the speaker's time, one at 60 seconds and one at 90 seconds. Are there any further motions on this subject? Seeing there are none, we will now move into voting procedures. Since 90 seconds is the more disruptive of the two, we will vote on that first. So, all delegates wishing to vote in favor of setting the speaker's time to 90 seconds, please raise your country placards high. All those against? Any abstentions? With a vote of 5 in favor and 3 against, this motion has passed. The speaker's time is now 90 seconds. We will now open the floor to the topic of setting the agenda. Are there any motions on the floor? Please raise your country placards high. Spain, you have been recognized.
The Kingdom of Spain would like to motion to discuss topic B due to its relevance to the committee.
Thank you very much, delegate. Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections?
Objection.
Seeing there has been an objection, we will now entertain one speaker in favor and one speaker against this motion. Any delegate wishing to speak in favor of this motion, please raise your country placard high. Spain, you have been recognized. Any delegate wishing to vote against? United Kingdom. Spain, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, the Kingdom of Spain feels that the most pressing issue of our time is that of topic B, implications of the South Sudanese referendum. While it is true that the referendum has been held and South Sudan has seceded from Sudan by an overwhelming majority, there are still major issues at hand. For the sake of peacekeeping, we need to address the situations of oil sharing, border demarcation, nomadic peoples, and further referendums in the Abyei region. Thank you. The delegation yields a vote.
Thank you, Spain. We will now hear from the delegate of the United Kingdom.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, the delegation of the United Kingdom believes that topic A, dealing with the self-determinations of the regions of Gibraltar, Western Sahara, and Kashmir, is of utmost importance, seeing as there are long-standing disputes with severe consequences for their residents if not looked at soon. Sudan has had their referendum, and it was successful. Let's use our time more wisely and focus on the situations which are more dire to the international community. The delegate yields the floor back to the chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any further motions on the floor? Seeing none, we will commence voting on setting the agenda to topic B, the Sudanese situation. All those delegates wishing to vote in favor, please raise your country placards high. All those wishing to vote against? With a clear majority, this motion has passed. Are there any further points or motions in the floor, in the House? Algeria, you have been recognized.
The delegation of Algeria would like to motion for a moderated caucus of 10 minutes, 1 minute speaker time on the topic of oil revenue issues in Sudan and South Sudan.
Thank you. Are there any further motions in the House? Costa Rica, you have been recognized.
Motion for an unmoderated caucus of 20 minutes.
The chair will not entertain this motion since it would be dilatory towards an effective discussion. So we move back to the motion of the moderated caucus of 10 minutes, 1 minute speaker's time on the topic of oil revenue issues in Sudan, in South Sudan, raised by Algeria. Are there any seconds for this motion?
Second.
Any objections? Seeing there are none, this motion has passed. We now move into a moderated caucus of 10 minutes, 1 minute speaker's time on the topic of oil revenue issues in Sudan and South Sudan. Algeria, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Delegate.
Point of personal privilege?
Yes, there's been a point of personal privilege. Please rise and state your point.
I have to pee.
First of all, delegate, I is not in order within this conference. And second of all, if you need to go in the restroom, you should not use a point of personal privilege for that, but just write a note to the chair and leave the debate quietly. That concludes this moderated caucus, and the floor is now open. Any delegations wishing to motion, raise your placards now. Costa Rica, you have been recognized.
Motion for an unmoderated caucus of 20 minutes.
All right, this time this motion is in order. Are there any seconds for this motion?
Second.
Second.
Any objections?
Objection.
Since there has been an objection, we will now vote on moving into an unmoderated caucus of 15 minutes raised by Costa Rica. All delegates wishing to vote in favor, please raise your county placards high. All those wishing to vote against. With a clear majority, this motion has passed. We are now in an unmoderated caucus of 15 minutes. It begins right now.
She said 20 minutes. I said 20.
Okay, delegates, would the House please come to order? The time for the unmoderated caucus has now elapsed. We would ask all delegates to return to their seats. Thank you very much, delegates. Are there any further motions or points in the floor, the House? The floor is now open. Are there any further points or motions in the House? Please raise your council placards high. Franz, you have been recognized.
Motion to introduce working paper 1.2.
Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections?
Objection.
We will now move into voting procedure on the introduction of working paper 1.2. All delegates wishing to vote in favor, please raise your council placards high. All those wishing to vote against? Abstentions? With a clear majority, this motion has failed. Are there any further motions in the House? United States of America, you have been recognized.
Motion to introduce draft resolution 1.2.
Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections?
Objection.
Any abstentions? With a clear majority, this motion has passed. We will now introduce the draft resolution 1.2. Could you please pass that out, United States of America? The floor is now open. Are there any further points or motions in the House? Please raise your country flag as high. Delegation of Spain, you have been recognized.
Motion to hold a moderated caucus of 15 minutes, 45 seconds speaker's time to discuss draft resolution 1.2.
Thank you very much, Spain. Are there any superseding motions at this time? Please raise your country flag as high. France, you have been recognized.
Motion for a moderated caucus of 17 minutes, 1 minute speaker's times on the topic of nomadic peoples and citizenship.
That is a superseding motion. Are there any seconds for the motion set by France?
Second.
Any objections?
Objection.
We will now move into voting procedures on the motion set by France. Are there any delegates wishing to vote in favor? Please raise your country flag as high. All those wishing to vote against? With a clear majority, this motion has failed. Are there any further motions in the House? Seeing there are none, we will now vote on the motion proposed by Spain to set a 50 minutes, to move into a 50-minute moderated caucus, 45-second speaker's time to discuss draft resolution 1.2. All delegates wishing to vote in favor, please raise your country placards high. All those wishing to vote against? With a clear majority, this motion has passed. We now proceeded into moderated caucus of 50 minutes. Spain, you have the floor. Thank you very much,
Point
delegate.
of personal privilege.
Yes, there's been a point of personal privilege.
may
Please
the
rise and
delegate-
state your point.
May the delegation of Spain please be excused for the rest of the session.
That is an order, delegation of Spain. You may leave. Decorum, delegates, decorum. Talking is out of order unless you have the floor. Thank you very much. Canada, you have been recognized.
The delegation of Canada would like a motion to begin voting proceedings on draft resolution 1.2.
Are there any seconds?
Second.
Objections?
Objection.
We will now move into voting procedure on this motion. All delegates wishing to vote in favor, please raise your council flag as high. All those wishing to vote against. This motion has passed. We are now into voting procedure on draft resolution 1.2. All delegates wishing to vote in favor of draft resolution 1.2, please raise your country flag as high. All those against? Abstentions? With the clear majority, this resolution has passed. Clapping is in order, delegates. The floor is now open. Are there any further points or motions in the House? Bahrain, you have been recognized.
We would like to motion to close the debate.
There has been a motion to close the debate. Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections? Seeing there has been an objection, we will now vote on the motion coming from Bahrain to close the debate. All delegates wishing to vote in favor of this motion, please raise your country flag as high. All those wishing to vote against. Any abstentions? With the clear majority, this motion has passed. The debate is now closed. See you next year.